There are three questions that I will often ask myself. Why did I keep repeating the same patterns? Why do I feel stuck even when I know better? And why does my life not match who I know I could be? When I could not answer those questions, I knew I had a bigger problem, and that problem was bigger than me. Most of how we function was learned early, early as in our childhood. A majority of it was from observation. No one set us down and said, this is how you do this. This is how you do that. We picked up certain things from our environment, from our family, from religion, from society as a young age. Because as children, we are observers. We observe everything. And so, in that observation, we taught ourselves how to survive, how to live, how to think, how to function. Whether that was good for us or bad for us, in that moment, we didn't know. We didn't have any idea. We were just picking up what we noticed and realized in our environment, in our surroundings. And so, if everyone around us is doing the same thing, why would we think it's bad? Why would we think it's wrong? Why would we believe there's another way to life or another way to do things besides what we only know, what we've only seen? What we only seen generations to generation do, from grandma to your mom to your cousins. And so we learn how to function and how to survive based off the things that we observed, which in return became our normal, very normal for us. And so when we step out of our own small environment, our own circles, we then realize, whether that's through other people in different environments, from different situations, that, oh, my way may be a little bit different from the next person's way. And so the patterns that we picked up in childhood, the ones that probably didn't benefit us or serve us, we still carried them along the way. Patterns like people pleasing, self abandonment, overthinking, emotional suppression. If we observe someone in our family member always trying to please everybody and take care of everybody, to even to their own detriment, we begin to believe that that's what we're supposed to do. That our job is to make everyone happy, even if we're not ourselves. Our job is to abandon ourselves to make sure the next person is good, to make sure the next person is satisfied. Some of us was taught everyone else first and then us. So we didn't just become people pleasers all suddenly. We didn't just start abandoning ourselves all suddenly. This is something that we have been doing from a very young age. And as our age grew, our emotional pattern stayed the same. Our emotional maturity didn't change. We still carried that along the way. So in relationships, that's when things start to show up. And you start to realize, whoa, where did this come from? Why am I acting this way? Why am I behaving this way? I used to be told, you're not my mother. I didn't see myself coming off as someone's mother. I saw myself coming off as helpful, trying to guide, trying to prevent, trying to save, trying to calm, trying to make sure everybody and everything is okay. Because that's something, a pattern I have been stuck in since a young girl. And I carried that into my relationships to the point the other person's perspective was I was being mothering. And I would get defensive when I was told that I was being mothering because what? You don't see all that I'm doing, all that I'm trying to be, all I'm trying to help, and all the things? No, because that wasn't my role. That wasn't what I was supposed to be doing. I wasn't meant to solve and to help and to figure everything out for everybody, especially not for a man. Men want to thrive and feel like they're capable without you coming along to try to solve everything. But because I was used to being the fixer, the problem solver, I would do it even when it wasn't wanted. And ultimately, that didn't benefit my relationships at all. It actually hurt them. But as that little girl, to protect everybody' peace, to protect everybody' happiness, I started to do that at a young age. And I just thought that this is what you do in life and what you do to people. And so as I grew older, got into relationships, had children, I still continued the same pattern. Because emotionally, I didn't evolve. Emotionally, I didn't grow. Then I started to realize, well, why are they reacting that way? Why are they acting like that? Like, what's the big deal? And so until we connect where we are now to the patterns we learn into our inner child and our younger self, things will continue to feel off. We will continue to feel out of place. And we will continue to not see the change that we ultimately desire and that we ultimately want. And so until we dig deep, everything else is surface level. Yes, we could change for a moment, a week, I'll give it a good month. But if we want that everlasting change, that identity switch, that complete transformation, we definitely have to tap into ourselves and dig deep down. For some of us, we have to address a lot of the things that we were taught, that we believe, that we were shown, that we were told as young girls. And so we can't change what we don't understand. We don't understand why we're showing up in this way. And until we know how we got there or why we think that way, there's nothing really going to change. We can't heal what we haven't met. Until we go back, nothing will change. So it may not be our fault how things started. It may not be our fault for the things that we may have been introduced, told, for the things we observe, for the things we witnessed. None of that may not be our fault. But once we become aware, it is now our responsibility to do the healing, to do the work, to change. Because once that awareness flashes, we have two options: stay the same or do something differently. And depending on what we want our results to be, is what we will ultimately decide. Staying the same, I'm sure 9 times out of 10, we know what that would look like. We know what that would feel like because we may have already been there for many, many years at this point. But if we truly want a different result, we have to think differently, move differently, become someone new. This is one of the sessions I had tonight during a one-on-one mentorship session, and it was titled Inherited Patterns in Inner Child. This has been one of my favorite topics to discuss so far because I was able to show her the reason why you're showing up how you are now is related to the things that you saw, believe, observed in your childhood. And you continue to function in that matter. No matter what circumstance you were in, no matter what situation came your way, you continue to function in the way that you were taught by observation. Some people were literally sat down and talked to about this is how you do this. Or by just, in being in your own environment. And you carried that along the way. Because unless I would say, you are willing to open yourself up to different ways of living, thinking, and being, you would continue to function in the same manner that you was taught, that you were raised. The same way you may have taught yourself how to survive at such a young age. That's why survival mode is one of the toughest things to kind of pull yourself out of. Because survival mode didn't happen once you became an adult. Survival mode didn't happen once a certain situation happened to you. Survival mode for some of us started from out the womb. We probably was born into survival mode, depending on our family status, what we did or did not have. And so this session, I felt like I really needed to do a podcast about it because we can do all the healing work, we can do all the journaling, we can do all the therapy, all the things. But if we're not digging deep to our foundation, to our roots, some of us are carrying stuff from generation to generation. And no one has just broke it yet. That's why they say that about generational curses. Until we dig deep, connect the dots, all the healing will be surface level. We will change just enough to get by. And if you're anything like me, that's not good enough for me. I want my whole life to change. From my thought process to how I walk, to how I talk, to how I think, to how I raise my children, to all of these things. Because I know God did not put me here to barely make it, to do the bare minimum just to survive. And so, if this resonates at all, if you're realizing you have more work that you need to do, if you want to know more about what I do, this is the exact type of work that I do inside becoming her mentorship. This is not surface level stuff. This is real raw work. And I tell my ladies all the time, one, you are your own healer. You know the answers to all of your own questions. You just have to be willing to do the work. A lot of people say they're willing to do the work. But once you get started and you realize how much it takes and how difficult it can get, a lot of people choose to remain the same. And one thing I don't want for us is I don't want us to look back with the shoulda, coulda, and the wouldas. Or look back and realize the same things that I was taught, that I observed as a child, I've now have passed on to my children, and that generational curse continue. So, ladies, come join me. I host a Becoming Room where us women get together and it's a place for us to feel seen, heard, and validated. It's a group where we can get together and talk about real life things and figure out how can we become this woman we know that we were meant to be. And if you want to dig deeper with me, I do have a one-on-one mentorship where I will help lead and guide you through your healing journey and your own process. I'm not here to do the work for you. I'm just here to be a guide. So my name is Brittany Britt. I'm an inner work specialist and the founder of BW Healing Co. I help women do the behind the scenes work